Okay, so I'm back, and the half marathon is done. 38 weeks of training. It has all come to a conclusion, and I'm going to recap it here. So, honestly, guys, there's a lot to go over. Um, Let me jump right into things first off. So, let's go over it. 38 weeks of training. So, this journey started on February 18th. I was 240 pounds body weight. Did a mile on the treadmill just to see what I could do. So there was no incline. I didn't have the incline set or anything like that. Did a mile, 13 and a half minutes. And that was how this all started. And I started out doing, a mile or two on the treadmill every morning. Around 5:30 a.m., I would get on the treadmill, do anywhere from a mile, 2 miles. Gradually bumped it up to 3. So February this year, 17.7 miles total. And then in March, I went up to 73.4 miles total. April, 93.5 miles total. So you can see I'm just ramping up gradually. And April was really, no, mid-March was the first time I stepped outside, but April was when I really started doing the majority of my training outside rather than on the treadmill. May, 129 miles. June, 142 miles. July, 167 miles. And then August was 151. September, 187 miles. That was the peak. No, October, 193 miles. So it just gradually ramped up more and more. 1,200 miles ran leading into this. Roughly 1,190. And then this bumped me to 1,200 plus. But a lot of time went into it. Started at 240 pounds. Ran almost 1,200 miles. Got down to 200 pounds. Now I did carb up a little aggressively. So going into the race, I ate a lot that week. The week of the race, I wasn't running much. I was running about half the mileage I normally would. Less than half if you don't count the half marathon. I only did like a couple of 4 mile runs, kind of tune-ups, because all the hard work was the week before. And I was eating a lot, and I gained some weight. I gained like 5 pounds going into the half marathon. So I was walking around at about 200 pounds the entire prep leading into the half marathon. And on race day, I was like 205 in the morning because I'd eaten so much. So I was a little nervous. I was like, I hope the extra weight gain doesn't impact things too much because I went hard on the bulk. I ate a whole pizza on Thursday night with dipping the crust in ranch, chicken nuggets, all sorts of stuff, crazy stuff. Texas toast, macaroni and cheese. Just went freaking crazy with the bulk, and so I was like, I'm pretty heavy. I hope I'm okay, but I felt good. I felt pretty rested. My shin's been a little hot on the right side, a little flared up. I don't know if it's because I'm a little heavier again that my shin splint on this right side is aggravated, but I'm hopefully going to be able to run through that because that's what happened last time. I just kept running and it eventually went away as the tibia bone was strengthened. So Friday night, I had Beet Juice for the first time, which is freaking terrible. That was not good. Jeremy Miller told me it helps a little bit with nitric oxide production and stuff like that, and it was nasty, but I did that. Saturday morning of the race started at 9 a.m. I had 3 electrolyte capsules, Succeed electrolyte capsules beforehand, which is like 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 150 milligrams potassium. Now, this is one thing I would change. If I were to do this again, I would have doubled that dose. I would have taken 6 caps right from the get-go because I felt like my electrolytes were depleting by the end. And I didn't drink during the race. Like in a half marathon. Sorry, it cut out. But no, in a half marathon, if you're hydrated beforehand, you can get away with not drinking if it's a cooler race because the temperature at the start was like 49 degrees. And so I was dehydrated by the end, obviously, but if in a marathon, I would have to really be diligent about the hydration because I could feel even at mile 13, right at the end, my left hamstring started to cramp a little bit. I could feel it coming on. But I had that. I had Cliff Blocks beforehand, and then I had, that morning, I had 2 English muffins with peanut butter and a banana for breakfast before the race. I had a gel at mile 4 and 8, which really helped. That fueled me quite a bit. But let's actually get into how things went. So how did things go, guys? I finished in 1 hour and 38 minutes and 38 seconds. So that was good enough for the win in my age group. In the 30 to 34 category, I was first of 21. I was 28th of 235 males, and I was 34th of 444 overall. So I placed in the 93rd percentile, which I was going for the 90th percentile. I wanted to be top 10%, and I smashed that. And I was going for a sub 140 half marathon, smashed that, 138.38. So really, it was the best case scenario. The pace was 7:32 overall, and it felt amazing. I used the shoes that I ran my 10K PR in. So my 10K PR was a 7:17 pace, just over 45 minutes. It was like 45:13, and I ran that in the Saucony Endorphin Elites, and that was the only time I'd worn those in training, and I wore them for the race. And they definitely feel a smidge faster, more aggressive than my normal training shoes, which are the Saucony Endorphin Pro 2s, which the Pro 2s are not as aggressive as the Pro 3s. So I definitely got a little boost there. Now, starting out, I started right at the front pretty much. I was like one row back from the front because I knew I was going to kind of be up there. Based on previous year's results, I knew I was going to be near the front. So I started off 7:25 pace on the first mile, a little aggressive. You come out of the gates and everybody's flying. People fly past you, whatever, you let them go. And you just try to stay dialed in at that pace. And I started off a little fast, but it felt so good. I was like, this is fine. 7:25 on the first mile, 7:28 on the second, 7:28 again on the third. And this is all the hilly portion of the race. The hilliest portion of the race is the beginning, the first 4.5 miles. So I was clocking it, and there were people around me like dying. So I knew I was in pretty good shape because I felt great. My heart rate wasn't going crazy. I wasn't huffing for air. I could talk. I was talking to some people. I just felt amazing. Now 7:44 was 7:33 fourth mile, 7:44 fifth mile. 7:44 was the slowest because that was the massive hill. So there's this giant hill at about 4.5 miles that I knew was coming up, and I actually walked about 15-20 seconds to this. So sometimes I'll do that. I'll do like a quick 15-20 second walk to bring my heart rate down and bring my breathing, get it under control. So 7:44 on the fifth on that massive hill, and then we had a big downhill portion. I clocked at 7:15, so I was flying on that part. That part felt effortless. 7:23 seventh mile, 7:25 eighth, 7:33 ninth, and then we started hitting some strong headwinds at mile 10. So mile 10 to the finish was pretty flat, but there was a very strong headwind, which slowed me down a good bit, and I had a 7:41 12th mile, a little slower there. So overall, pretty much nailed the pace, was always in range. Needed to be at 7:37 to get a 140, and I was always in range. And honestly, the race, at no point was I suffering. At no point did I think it felt overly difficult. I felt like I prepared so diligently, so aggressively, that the race itself was the easy, fun part. This is what I'm talking about. When I was running those miles in the 90-degree heat and the crazy humidity in July and August, putting that work in, suffering, then it made it so I wasn't suffering at all on race day. And if you prepare, so like I was saying, it cuts out. I don't know why. If you put the work in training, the race is the easy part. Like, that was the easy part. And a tremendously supportive crew. My wife was with me every step of the way. This prep, this was a crazy transition from just powerlifting to losing all this weight, losing 40 pounds, doing all this running every day. I'd head out the door at the gym, and she was completely supportive of this, and she's supportive of the goal with the 100-mile race. That's why this Bighorn shirt is here. We got the 100-mile race coming up in June. I think it's 7 months away, so that's going to come quick. That's why I just got to keep hammering it. But she's been so supportive of this whole journey. I love her to death. Can't thank her enough. And then my coach, Chris Jones, he helped me through this whole thing with what to do. I really didn't know what I was doing beforehand. So if you need a good running coach, definitely hit him up. He's just a local guy. He never coached anyone. He started coaching me going into this, and it all came together. But like I said, coming up next, I'm really thinking. I was like, maybe I want to go for a sub 130 half marathon at the Knoxville marathon or half marathon in April. It's April 7th, 21 weeks away. I was like, I could go for a sub 130, and I feel pretty confident I could do that, even though it's a very tough course. But I was like, man, if I put in that much work, I'm just going to want to do the marathon. So I'm starting to think maybe we'll do the Knoxville Marathon, the full thing, in April, and try to go sub 3:15, which would be huge. But that's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take more mileage. I understand that. But it will kind of be a good segue anyway, training for the Bighorn 100, because the Bighorn 100 in June is the ultimate goal. That's what this shirt's about, like I said. That's what everything comes down to. So, I'm going to put the 70, 80-mile weeks in regardless of whether I'm doing the half marathon or marathon in Knoxville. So I'm like, maybe I should just do the marathon and go for a big number there. I kind of didn't want to do a marathon until I could do sub 3, but it's no different than guys who are like, I don't want to compete in powerlifting until I can total 1,800. Just jump in the water, do your best. So we'll see about that. But that's going to be the next one, whether it's the half or the full, April 7th. And then the Bighorn 100 is in June 14th. So I got to go hard. I got to keep pushing. I'm going to keep lifting. Going to keep working on the biceps. That's a huge priority. Trying to build that size, have that look. Lateral raises, big delts. Want to deadlift 650, 700. We'll see. And I'm just going to keep pushing. But honestly, it was a tremendous day. It was like so surreal to look back on the last 38 weeks. All the difficult days, all the struggles, all the things I went through. And like to think that this was the end of the first journey. It's the end of the first journey, but it's the beginning of the complete journey. Because now we got big things coming April. We got big things coming June. We're not slowing down here. We're going to keep hammering. So I'm really excited about it. Thank you guys for supporting me and following the journey. I'll keep documenting this. I will document the prep coming up here. And I'll finalize a decision on whether it's the half or the full for April. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for the support. Subscribe and give the video a thumbs up if you like the content.